Hello and good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to this week's new episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast. I'm your host, Mr. BoomStick XL. Hopefully, you don't hear the jackhammering that is happening right outside the window because Con Ed needed to tear up the show. Well, they are tearing up the show. To tear up the street since 9 o'clock this morning. It has been madness. Hopefully, they'll be done any second. But, folks, we got an outstanding, rocking show for you today. We got breaking news. And, of course, second half of the show, we're going to talk about Marathon and the big gamble that Bungie has taken on this game. It's going to be a big conversation. Jamie has a lot to say. Crispy has a lot to say. And I have some thoughts as well, but we will get, obviously, Infinite Umber here momentarily. Crispy Bomb, good morning, kind sir. How you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I mean, that jackhammer is just Xbox, jackhammering in the industry at this point. I love just the fact that being the Game Pass subscriber is just amazing at this point. They just give me games constantly. And they not just give me games, they give my family games. Like the Series X can run certain games. Girl's been playing South of Midnight.
Nice.
She absolutely loves it. And by the way, it looks glorious on my TV. But we're going to get into some big news, some breaking news. So let's go.
Indeed. And Jamie Moran, good morning, kind sir, or good afternoon where you are. How you feeling? Welcome back.
Hey, man, happy to be here. It's an exciting day because, look, Oblivion is one of my favorite games of all time. It launched, on the 360 back in the day, so that left a huge impression. And from what I've seen today, couldn't be happier. And when it comes to the Marathon stuff, look, people know I'm an Xbox guy. I cover Xbox online, and even though Marathon is technically a PlayStation game, I've been excited for it. But I've got a lot to say. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, it should be very exciting. We should have a big conversation as we wait for Umber. And again, folks, if you do hear it, I'm trying to work on the noise canceling software. Again, it should be stopping any second. But I'll be on mute while everyone is breaking it down. But listen, you know what? Let's just jump right into Bethesda's Oblivion remake. Folks, we got this confirmed by multiple sources. And we have to jump right into this immediately. This is going to be a big topic. Crispy Bomb, let's get your thoughts while, we wait for Infinite Number to join and hopefully this jackhammering to stop.
Well, that's just Xbox telling you what they're doing. No. The one thing I'll look at is there's been a lot of leaks early. There's a few people that have been called out about it. I'll say, hey, Detective Seeds, guess what? You're probably sitting there pretty right now because now you got a lot more info, even title screen or, maybe what the cover is going to be. I've never played the game, and that was because of other reasons back in the 360 area. So what are we talking about here? Is it something special? Is it going to be a complete on remake? Or are they just upgrading the graphics?
Oh, that's no, this has been apparently redone from the ground up. And It apparently has been done in Unreal Engine 5. Like I said, there are screeners out there that leaked earlier today. I have a story in front of me, Crispy Bomb. Of course, this was written by Sam Tolbert of Windows Central. And basically it says and confirms to your point and question, the Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion Remastered leaks with screenshots are real. Now, again, this isn't just Windows Central reporting this. We've seen the likes of Hazardor Gaming, Okami 13 underscore. We've even seen Tom Warren, who actually was the first poster of the screenshots. There's also Rebs Gaming, who's a journalist. So these not only are these screenshots real, this is what the game looks like. And I got to tell you, I am completely blown away.
I mean, you got to look at it from my perspective. Never played the game. I don't want to play the old game I want to play a new experience for me. And that's because I'm a sub to Game Pass. And that wasn't the case back when it came out. It has become something that has been described to me as when Bethesda kind of was weird. When they did things a little different. So we don't want to take that away. We don't want to have like certain things just be like what gaming is now. You need those little nuances. And if that's the case with not only, I mean, UE5, if I feel like Xbox is going UE5 more than any other company. So that's something to take into consideration. Like, are they trying to develop UE5 for them? Because I see a lot of RPGs now coming from Xbox that are developing in UE5, but also all of a sudden you hear Halo is going to be in UE5. And is that, you know, the right thing? Because some of these games have elements like, you know, picking stuff up and doing little things that we're used to. Is that going to work in that engine? That is my only concern, because yes, I've seen, hey, it's being developed in UE5, and it's like, well, Bethesda don't generally do that. They make their own proprietary engine. It's one of those things. Is it going to hit all the notes that it needs to? And like I said, haven't played the game.
I want you to know I'm jealous of you. I am anyone who has not played the game like Crispy Bomb. There's someone else in here I just saw. Lil Ray Tito. Welcome to the program. I'm jealous of you guys. You're going to get to see this with fresh eyes. And what's crazy is not only are you going to get to see with fresh eyes, you're getting the best version. So I'm jealous, kind sir.
And you know, that's where I say, like, because I mean, you know, Gears player here, UE anything, yeah, it's been incredible my entire life. They've always upped the ante. Can they provide those elements? And you know, like I said, I feel like Xbox and Epic are playing pretty nice with each other right now. And you know, that's one of those things, like the visuals from like Avowed or anything built in UE is just incredible. But I understand that there's a lot of other elements in these games that are involved. The crafting, the you just picking up stupid, like being able to, you know, like navigate, you know, the world and being able to do whatever the heck you want. That's what I love about Bethesda games. So like, if they pull this off, I think, and it sells well and it does the way they want it to. I mean, it's going to release on PlayStation. A lot of people are, I don't want to hear about that. I don't care. I don't care. Okay. Like Doom. As soon as Doom was coming, Doom the Dark Age, bam. Like, yeah, I knew it was coming up, but they are going to allow the legacy titles. Okay. Even if it's a new iteration of a legacy title, they're going to allow that on all the platforms they possibly can. I mean, I would be interested to see if the Switch 2 has that. You know what I'm saying? Like, that would be interesting for Switch players to have. Okay. So you look at it and you say, they're going to bring up the visuals. Apparently they're changing dynamics in the game. And like you almost have a parry system and stuff like that apparently they're talking like I said, didn't play the game, telling me that, yeah, you know, it's going to be different. And, you know, I'm all about gameplay. Like, I want gameplay. It sounds too good to be true. And I hope it's exactly what they're saying. And that's something that I think, you know, for somebody like me that hasn't played it, hey, got it on Game Pass, I can play it. And I think that's worth everything in my eyes.
I absolutely agree. I think that the fact that you can play it in Game Pass is amazing. And the fact that you're getting a game that launched on the Xbox 360, redone in Unreal Engine 5. And of course, got to welcome in Mr. Unreal Engine 5 himself, Infinite Umbra. What's up, brother? How you feeling?
It is I, Mr. Unreal himself. Oh, good morning, fellas. Good morning, chat. Yeah, I'm just I was asleep, so I just now gazed upon the glory of these new images from Oblivion. Oh, it looks
Well,
spectacular.
listen, we're going to have a lot to say about it. I want to get you in a hot second, but I want to bring Jamie, the elusive gamer, in on this because these screenshots are glorious and it proves how different and how good it looks. Let's get your thoughts on the confirmation from Jeff Grubb on his show where he said it was shadow dropping, confirmed next week. And then we got all of these leaks of all of these screeners. Let's get your thoughts, Jamie.
Yeah, so when the funny thing is, Microsoft leaked this 2 years ago, and we've just been waiting for it ever since. So like, and I'm actually like really jealous of Crispy because like I've played Oblivion, I love that. I played it when it came out, and like this is going to be a new Elder Scrolls game for a whole generation of people, which is a huge deal. And like, I'm very impressed with what I've saw. It looks so good, and I've mentioned this before on my podcast, and I'll mention it here. You know, when you first get out into the open world in Oblivion, at the time it was mind blowing. You go over to the forest and you look down at the ground, and the entire ground in that game has this green texture that's meant to be grass, but because they couldn't render 3D grass at the time, even in 2006, I was like, it just looks like this green paint on the ground. You know, it's grass. But in this, you're obviously going to have grass. The game looks good. What can I say? You know, as Crispy was saying, like, why would they move to Unreal Engine? Well, the studio that are developing this remake, Virtuos, they are specifically good at using Unreal Engine. They've done a bunch of remasters and remakes in the past using Unreal Engine. They did the Batman Arkham collection. They did the LA Noire remaster, I believe, a bunch of other games. But also, a lot of developers are familiar with Unreal Engine tools. So, like, that's why you keep saying this. That's why you're going to see it in the future. And another thing is that when it comes to Oblivion, it's called remastered, but it's a remake. Right? The industry keeps doing this. I think maybe it's an easier sell for some companies. You know, it's a one-to-one remake. It's all fancy and stuff. It's going to have, you know, refined gameplay. I have seen reports go around that it's going to have Souls gameplay. I think the report is kind of wrong about that. As far as I know, the UI and some gameplay systems such as parrying is going to work like a Souls game because the game already had parrying. It just wasn't good. You know, like, as much as I love Oblivion, it had many flaws. But with that being said, I hope it does keep some of the flaws. So for people that are listening, there was this particular bug in Oblivion in 2006, and they kept this bug in, where if you could pick up a paintbrush, hold it up in the air and let go, it would stay still. So you could actually make a ladder, an infinite ladder, using paintbrushes, and you could hop over buildings and walls. And stuff, and it was like so good back in the day. But I'm impressed with what I saw. I'm actually surprised that they're going to shadow drop this because it's an Elder Scrolls game. You know, we haven't had one since Skyrim, and we've had 2 versions of that since. So, like, to me, I'm surprised that they're not going to give this the whole marketing treatment. You know, get 3 months out there in advance, tell people it's coming, have a collector's edition, all that. But they're not. They're coming out with a shadow drop, and I have a theory about why they're going to do a shadow drop for this. I think they are testing the market to see how big of a game can you launch day one without any marketing, because we live in an age where virality is a thing, where companies look at TikTok and, you know, Instagram reels and basically, you know, instant gratification. They're looking at that thinking, how can we market games this way? And I think they're going to use it as a test bed because it's going to sell well regardless.
Oh, dude, it's going to sell on
Yeah.
PC. It's going to sell on PlayStation. And listen, there's going to be people that are going to buy it on Xbox, but it's going into Game Pass day and date. I see there's a lot of like real super big pushback on the, you know, why would you shadow drop something like this? And I really think it's because they have so many games that are coming out for the remainder of the year that we don't know about. There are some that we do, sure, but there's a bunch that we don't. And at what point, I mean, what do you do for this game? Do you do a developer direct? Do you wait for another showcase? there are no more showcases happening. And developer directs, I'm not trying to sound like a corpo guy here, but that costs money. And I think this accident, if you read the story, like for instance, before we bring, we'll let you finish in a sec, but again, Sam Tolbert wrote a great article, and it goes on to say rumors and whispers have been happening for months surrounding the remaster version of Bethesda Game Studios' iconic role-playing game, The Elder Scrolls 4. Now, this leak, according to Sam, occurred on Virtuous's website on Tuesday, briefly allowing various screenshots and logos to be accessed by anyone. While this access was quickly removed, the internet is forever. And obviously, well, here we are. I think this is one of those accidental on purpose things. And I think that the buzz around this right now, Oblivion Remake is trending on the socials. This, if it was an accidentally on purpose kind of a thing, Jamie, was brilliant because we're all talking about it. And I think that it's going to sell like hotcakes. Please continue, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to sell millions regardless. And I've seen people mention like, why would they market a remaster? It's a remake. It's just called a remaster. Like, why would they market this? Like, we haven't had an Elder Scrolls game since 2011. Skyrim has been the only Elder Scrolls game for millions of people. So this remake is a new game for the majority of people, right? You're going to have nerds like some of us replaying it, right? But most people playing this game, it's going to be for the first time. And there's more hype for this than a lot of new games coming out, because it's Elder Scrolls. And like, I'm excited, man. Look, Oblivion, I should say Skyrim, people love that open world. It has the dragons. The side quests in that game are phenomenal. But Oblivion, and I will die on this hill, it has the better main story and it has the better dungeons. Take that to the bank. And also Oblivion gates. Remember how you used to step through Oblivion gate and you'd get hit
amazing.
Yeah, it was amazing, but you had like a 2-minute load screen. Well, now, technically, with an SSD, you could, and just from the screenshots I've seen today, I'm guessing you just walk through the portal and you're there. So if that's the case, like, I'm getting giddy just talking about this, right? And it's a remake of a game I've played tons of times. And this game's also going to include both expansions. So
it's going to have every piece of DLC, and of course, I hope there's a commercial that talks about horse armor. I hope they roll with it. Yes. I
hope they have to run with it at some point. But it's an exciting time because, yes, it is a remake of a game that came out 20 years ago, but it's a game that kind of, I don't want to say defined a generation, but it was a wow moment. When you bought an Xbox 360 back in the day, you played that game and your mind was blown. And like it launched on PC at the same time. Like, you needed a hell of a rig to play that back in the day. So I'm excited. I think fans should be excited. And like, look, every problem I had with the game back in the day, from what I've seen so far and what I've read, it looks like that's going to be fixed. I hated the original UI. Like, absolutely terrible, the way the compass works, the way some question work. But that game actually has some really great flaws. So for people that don't know, typically when actors do lines for video games, they might mess up and they'll re-record the line. Well, the way they did the lines in the Oblivion is that sometimes they kept in the bloopers, and I don't think they realized it. So you'll actually hear certain characters say their line twice. And it's hilarious. So I hope they keep in things like that just to keep it authentic. But look, it's a remake of a 20-year-old game and it has more hype than some new games coming out. It coming out as a shadow drop is surprising, but I'm happy to see it. And like, look, we all know Microsoft has an absolutely stacked year ahead. They can drop it pretty much whenever they want. And to get it out early in the year, I think it's very important. It's going to sell, millions of copies because, look, I hate saying GTA is going to be like, GTA 6 is the boogeyman for all these developers, but it pretty much is, right? This year is front heavy. The first half of this year is absolutely stacked. I've talked about this time and time again. I have a database of games coming to Xbox. Basically, after August, next to nothing has a release date. Right? There's a handful of games because they're all wondering when GTA is going to drop. And Oblivion would be affected by that. But getting that out of the way months in advance, it's going to sell millions on all platforms. Anyway, I think fans are going to love it, especially for people that have never played it because I'm just so jealous of them.
Well, folks, we got breaking news. Okay, this comes the way of ecstasies, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, next week there is, in fact, going to be an Xbox partner preview event. Apparently, it's been scheduled for April 23rd, and of course, that week is that's next week, and that's when this game is supposed to be quote unquote shadow dropped. I could imagine at this event they not only show the game running, they'll show gameplay, but they'll shadow drop it right after the event. Let's bring in Mr. Unreal Engine 5 himself, Oblivion. Unreal Engine 5, you saw the screens, you've seen the reports. Now we have a detailed leak of what could be the Xbox partner preview that was supposed to happen last month. Let's get your thoughts, Umbra.
Yeah, it only makes sense. The more I started seeing these images and I'm looking through everything, and I saw the image of it seemed to be a gentleman explaining some things on another image I saw for the physical edition. I was like, this looks like something from a preview, like a partner preview.
Indeed,
and then sure enough, he just happened to say that. So I'm like, makes sense. So because I was wondering, where's that from? I'm like, they're not going to just show that for one game with the guy doing some type of deep dive. I didn't think. So now that makes perfect sense that if there's a partner preview. And I think we did hear something about the rumor of that way back, that there will be another one before June.
Yeah.
Right. So that adds up. It's so weird to have so much like communication breakdowns on this one game. It's like, when is it happening? Oh, this week, next week, tomorrow is going to shadow drop. And then it's like, okay, finally April 21st. Then I was like, okay, April 23rd. All right, fine, whatever. I've already seen the goods, so to speak. So I'm just waiting for the game to drop, man. Like, this game is on my Mount Rushmore. I've said this many times. It's on my Mount Rushmore of games. One of the finest Western RPGs ever created, in my opinion. It's a lot of nostalgia packed in there for me. And so I have on tinted shades for sure, to be fair, but super excited to get back into this world. And from what I've seen from the images, it looks damn good to see the transition from their engine to Unreal. I'm just wondering how they're going to handle the open world aspect. I want to see how that plays out, seeing how Unreal. Yeah, well, to be fair, it's not like the images I've seen, it's not like hitting Black Myth Wukong level of Unreal.
Yeah, but the game is also 20 years old, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not again, from what we've from what has been explained, even though it says remastered, and I think Jamie's onto something here, it is a remake. You're not getting any of the 2006 assets in this game. This game has been done from Unreal Engine 5, using Unreal Engine 5 from the ground up, the same way Ninja Gaiden 2 Black was. And that game looked and ran amazing. Now, granted, I see a lot of people kind of like nervous about, oh my God, Unreal Engine 5 open world. We'll see. But again, Virtuous is a phenomenal company, and I have faith in them, Umbra.
Yeah, well, I mean, I have to see. I have no doubt. I don't have doubt in my heart about the game itself. So it is what it is for me. I don't know enough about Virtuous to say, yeah, they're going to do this well or whatever. I don't know. I'm sure they'll do a good enough job. I just can't wait to actually get my hands on it and play it again. It's been so long, man. The game came out, in 2006? It feels like it was longer than that. It feels like it was longer, but that is literally almost 25 years. So, I mean, it's a long time regardless, any way you look at it, which still seems crazy. It's been 24 years and some time, right? But no, just super excited to actually get my hands on it. It looks damn good from what I've seen from the images that's been leaked. I just saw some new ones actually that show the Oblivion Gate, and that looks like the Eye of Sauron it looks good, man. I've seen the castle and everything like that, and all I need to see, I guess, is a bald-headed Patrick Stewart, and but I guess he's not bald in this one. He's the king, so he has hair. But yeah, I'm just I want to see how they handle the lip syncing and all. I want to see more. I just can't wait next week I'll see enough, right? And I'm guessing we will have it next week, such as the rumor is that it will actually drop on the 21st, which I guess now is the 23rd for the partner.
They said the
preview.
week of the 21st. So,
Oh, did you say the week of?
Yeah, Jeff had said the week of the 21st, not so much specifically
the 21st,
the day of the 21st. So this kind of it's all seems to be lining up. Umbra
works out. So yeah, crazy. I mean, Microsoft has also built a little something special with these shadow drops they've had for these types of shows. That's dope to see too. I'm happy for this. I'm happy that this is actually finally happening. And I mean, just look at all the great stuff that, again, the years stacked for Xbox in general. And then you see stuff like this. You got Expedition 33 dropping soon. I mean, I just saw a list where it showed not a list, but a Game Pass ad, if you will, about games to come just in the, I guess, this month and next, right? So you got Crime Scene Cleaner, we got Tim Popo, we got Clear Obscure, Expedition 33, we got Towerborn, we got Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 on the 1st, you got GTA 5 right now in there. It was back in there. Neon White. You got this SpongeBob's game. For whoever might like that. Far Cry 4, Anno 1800, Dredge. Like you got a lot of good stuff, and that's ignoring everything else from Adam Fall and all of that Xbox has had this year. It's been a crazy good year, and I mean this only extra compounds that, right? So I don't know, man. My voice may not display it because I'm tired, but I am extremely excited for this, and just in general, I think it's been a really good year already for Xbox in general. Shout out to Next Gen Nero, and everybody in the chat. Good morning, everybody.
Well, listen, brother, we know you're excited because 1, it's Unreal Engine 5. 2, it's Oblivion. Everyone on this panel is excited for it because we all remember the game. Most of us have played it. I'm jealous of the people, not only on the panel, but on the chat who have not played it, because you're going to get to experience one of what I believe to be like one of the best RPGs of all time. Like this is the best RPG, in my opinion, that Bethesda has ever done. And I cannot wait to experience this all over again.
It's one of the best. It's one of the best all time.
It really is. It really is. And it was
far
ahead of its time from 2006. And now with all the modern extras, Umbra, I think it's going to hit big.
100%. 100%.
Can I just say this?
Please, by all means.
One thing that I forgot about over the years, being on social media and everything else, is that fan service is important. And I'm sorry, but I know a lot of people are like, oh, they're throwing popcorn, this and that. To see these kids go to that Minecraft movie and absolutely go ham, and they're quoting stuff, and I'm like, you never seen the movie. I went Sunday, like, what are we talking about here? I don't even know what it was. I went there for Jack Black. I'm gonna be honest with you. But then I go and look at why certain things were done, and like, the pig with the golden crown, and that's a homage, okay, to somebody that passed away. That's fan service, people. And I believe that Xbox is saying, you know what? Not everyone has played this game, but everyone should have the ability to. And I think that is like the most important thing right now.
Well, I mean, again, it's just fan service is what it's about. And again, this is one of those things that they didn't have to do it, but they're doing it. And they're going to make a lot of money on it. And Game Pass players and subscribers are going to win. People on PlayStation aren't being boxed out. You'll be able to buy it, play it. And of course, anyone on PC will be able to play it and buy it if they want as well. Game Pass is hitting on all cylinders, ladies and gentlemen. And listen, we're all winning. We are all winning right now. But, gentlemen, we got to get into the big topic of the show. And I know this was a big topic as way we opened up the show, but the next one, I think, is, in my opinion, even bigger. Marathon This is a conversation that I think, look, I know there's been a lot of talk, and I've seen even some developers come out, and everyone seems to be trying to put out this fire that unfortunately has started since what happened with Concord. Concord is an eyesore for PlayStation that is going to be there for the rest of the eternity. The internet doesn't forget. And I saw a lot of developers coming out and saying, "Hey, listen, let's not, beat up on Bungie because of the failings of Concord." Literally, one of the Concord developers, did a whole big post on it. I will say this. I am not interested in this game whatsoever. It is an extraction shooter. It looks extremely stylized, and I think it looks dope. It is Bungie, and I will give credit where credit is due. They have some of the best shooting mechanics in gaming. Make no mistake of that. Now, is it still the best? I guess that could be up for debate, but I can honestly say that their shooting mechanics, at least for me, have always been tip of spear. This is a situation where they're coming out with a game that is $40. The asking price of this game is $40. Now, you may say, whoa, boom, that's not that big of a deal. $40. Well, yeah, it kind of is when it's launching with 3 maps and 6 operators, and that's it. This is releasing bare bones. Now, granted, there are people, it is an alpha, right? People are playing it. Some people have already played it, like Paris Lily has played it. Several people in the community that I know have played it. And obviously they can't talk about it. But the truth of the matter is, and I'm going to go in reverse order. I'm going to go first to Jamie Moran, because Jamie was the most excited out of the entire panel. He has been excited for this game. And I hate to say this, and then we'll bring Crispy in and, of course, Infinite Umber on and get their hot takes on this. This is going up against the likes of Apex Legends and Call of Duty Warzone, which seems to have struck it gold with revisiting one of the old maps. And of course, and I know that their games are different, I understand, but right now, everything is losing to Marvel Rivals. That game just continues to grow a fan base, and it just keeps hitting and hitting and hitting. This is a game, Jamie, that you were excited for, and since its original showing a couple of days ago, obviously last week, every time I read an article, it seems to get worse. The more information about this game that is put out there, it seems like it's not going to hit. I want to get your thoughts on this because, again, nobody wants any game to fail. Not here at Double Barrel Gaming and nobody on this panel. Nobody's hoping that Concord fails, because if Concord fails, that could ultimately be the end of Bungie, and nobody wants to see a studio go the way of the dodo. Let's get that clear, okay? This is Marathon has a shot at potentially being a hit, but it also, Jamie Moran, has a shot on missing. Let's get your thoughts on what you've seen so far.
I mean, I'll get this out of the way quickly. I'm obviously an Xbox fan. I cover Xbox exclusively. But I've been rooting for this game because, for people that don't know, I don't really do multiplayer. Not really. But I've been craving. And because I watch a lot of Escape from Tarkov, which is a PC game, I've been craving for an extraction game on console. And the truth is, we have 2. There's 2 available on console, and they are both crap. I hate to say it, they're both crap. So I've been looking at this thinking, right, it's sci-fi. It's already got my attention, and it's an extraction game. It's got my attention again. So I've been excited to see this in action. And the gameplay I have seen, look, it's Bungie first-person shooting mechanics. It's obviously going to be fun. But if it feels like, and for people that don't know, and I've seen some multi-million subscriber accounts describe this game as a battle royale. Extraction games are basically you put into a map, you get given an objective, you have to retrieve something, and you have to leave. Your weapons are to procure on site, and if you die in the zone, you drop everything you have, and you have to start all over again. And then you take everything back that you do have, back to your stash. So you can it's a risk reward situation. So do you want to go into a zone with like just a basic handgun and just have like that be the only thing that you might lose if you get killed? That's how it works. And that's what makes Escape from Tarkov fun to watch. And Tarkov will never come to console. I could cry myself to sleep at night. So I've been looking at this, been paying close attention to it, and as someone that's been actively excited for it, there's been tons of little bits of information that I think that is it's not going to do the game any favors. You know, the extraction market on console is extremely small because one, nobody knows what the hell it is. People keep talking about it as it's a battle royale. Gamers haven't been introduced to extraction games on a big scale on console. And everything I've heard about this game, it's just like, it sounds less and less appealing. So, for instance, there's no proximity chat. For people that watch Tarkov or play Tarkov, that's kind of a big factor. That's one of the fun parts of it. It's team-based only. But you can play solo, but you're playing against other teams. And for an extraction game where it's a risk-reward scenario, why the hell would you play alone? There's not going to be other game modes. So no solos only mode, no team-based only mode. What else? Oh, the price. Look, the price is the big factor, right? It's a premium title with battle passes. I've said this with Call of Duty. I've said this with every other game. If you are paying for a video game, you shouldn't have to pay for a battle pass. The skins of those characters, those weapons are already on the disc, are already in the download code. So why should you have to pay to earn stuff how we used to unlock things 20 years ago or 15 years ago? So I think battle passes do not belong in a premium game. It being $40 and the extraction game, this should have been the extraction game to make extraction games popular on console. It really should have been. And I'm still rooting for the game. I want to play it. I'll jump into a beta test whenever that's live.
Right.
But like it being $40, which is what my guess is what the price is going to be.
That's the hot rumor that it's gonna launch for $40.
Yeah, and as I was saying in the DMs the other day, I thought it was going to be 40 because if this was 70, the studio's done, they closed forever. 50 and 60, I think, is a bit of a weird mark. You know, 40. If anything, if they have to charge money for this, it has to be $20 or £15. And people might think, well, this is a high quality game, Bungie first person shooter. Why would they charge that little for it? It's because it's these games, these battle pass games. You are basically paying money essentially every month to play the game, right? Without it being told to you that way. You're basically paying every month. You've given these massive incentives to join battle passes, unless you can actually earn the points to redeem a future battle pass, like you can with I think you can with Fortnite and Call of Duty and Fall Guys. It's a lot of money in the end, and this is also going to have skins, and it's also an operator hero-based extraction game. So they combining a bunch of different elements from different genres that no one was asking for. Right? All they had to do was come out with a sci-fi extraction game. There's elements from Tarkov in it, which I really like. But it's a tall order, right? The extraction games aren't big on console. So them to be basically the first AAA one on the market on console to go, hey, we're going to charge money up front and you're going to do battle passes. Like, it's crazy. But here's the thing. I really hope the game does well. I really do. Bungie, like they've been an institution in the gaming space for over 20 years. They made bloody Halo, right? Gaming wouldn't be what it is today without them. So like they need this to be a success. Destiny has had its ups and downs. People don't know what's happening in the future. There's been a lot of people laid off, all kinds of scandals and that. But if you're coming out into the market in a busy time when all these games are costing insane amounts of money to develop, to be the extraction game, to basically, try and get console gamers to play it and you charge money for it, it's risky. It really is. And I've seen people like mention, like every time I mention the $20 price tag, they laugh because, it's a Sony AAA game. But the truth is you can't charge money for the first experience on console that's going to be like that. You can play Warzone on your Xbox or PlayStation or PC for free. And in my opinion, it's the best Battle Royale experience. And that's a AAA game, completely free, supported by battle passes and skins. $40 is a tall order. Now, if it is $20, I actually think it will be successful. I just think 40 is a bit of a weird point because the multiplayer landscape at the minute, it's like, why would you spend money on this when you can play the multiplayer game you're currently playing? You know, look at Skull and Bones, right? Skull and Bones launched at full price, $70, and it is a online only experience riddled with microtransactions, and it launched in a really bad state. And they are just now talking about putting in on foot combat, right? It's like, and it's still a full price game. Like, Bungie need this to be a huge success. I think they know this, but like, charging money for the first premium extraction game on a console, it's a very tall order, and it could backfire. But I hope the best for them. I can't wait to play it. And a lot of people have gone against the art style. I think some of it looks really cool. I think the Tarkov experience in a sci-fi setting can really work on a console if they pull it off.
Well, listen, time is going to tell. It came out to lukewarm buzz. Crispy Bomb, Jamie had a lot to say. And I really want to get your thoughts on this because if you look at the playing field, and thank you for the correction before. I didn't mean to call it Concord like I was being insulting. I slipped my, slip of the word. Marathon is up against a big brick wall here, right? It's going directly against games like Apex Legends, and even PUBG still is a thing, which I don't know anybody that plays it, but people are playing it. You still are always going to fight up against the giant known as Fortnite. There's Warzone. There's Marvel Rivals. There are a lot of games that people, these black hole games, as they're called. The difference between every one of the games that I just mentioned versus Marathon is that Marathon is asking for $40 for price of admission. Now, I'm not saying $40 is, unreasonable. They spent a lot of money on this game. And you know what? Jamie's right. The art style, I actually really like it. I think the art style is great. And you know what? You match the art style with Bungie mechanics, and it could possibly work. The problem are all these little minutia things, like the no proximity chat, which a lot of people are really pissed off about. Now, could they change that? Possibly, right? Usually they respond pretty well to when it comes to, public opinion on certain things. The issue here, though, and I don't think this is going to change, is 3 maps. 3 maps, 6 operators, $40. When you go and you look at Marvel Rivals, you look at Apex Legends, you look at Warzone, you look at Fortnite, they are ice skating uphill, in my opinion. And again, nobody here will ever, I know some people in the chat have said it, which of course, no names here. I personally do not want to see Bungie fail. Everybody wants, again, I guess everyone likes to see the world burn. I don't. And nobody wants to see a company like Bungie go away. They've had a lot of scandals, like Jamie has said. They've been fighting, trying to retain players. They've been fighting, trying to retain people at the studio. And it hasn't been really good at Bungie in a long, long time. They've been working on this game for a while, since 2019. Somebody mentioned it in the chat. No single player story. And it's releasing very, very limited. Let's get your thoughts on, can Marathon survive?
Oh, it'll survive. Probably because of Xbox players. Just being honest. We spend, we'll spend $20 on an upgrade to play the game early. Simple things like that. I mean, $40 isn't the end all be all. Problem is that everybody's calling it an extraction shooter, and I'm like, okay, like I paid $100 for like the collector's edition of Division 1, and in the Dark Zone, absolutely, in my eyes, and maybe I'm wrong now, maybe it's a new thing of what an extraction shooter is. Division 2 even doubled down and kind of, said, like, look, like, unless you target somebody and, you're going to do it, which makes sense because, you know, I mean, we give Ubisoft a lot of BS, but they did it right in Division 2, honestly. Very good when it comes to extracting, like, hey, I get that legendary weapon, and if somebody targets me, then guess what? It's on. Okay, but at least you have that one prompt that says, yeah, this is happening. This game, I mean, I've heard a lot of people talk about Redfall like it's trash visually. I'm sorry, dude. Like, this is like cell shaded. Like, it's what you get. Does Fortnite get away with it? Sure, but it's free to play. You know, you look at the gaming landscape at this point. Like, I don't like FPS like that, so it's not in my realm anyway. But I look at all the people that are into FPS, including you, Boom, and I say it doesn't do anything for any of them either. They're not looking at it like it's this grand coming of Bungie coming back from the dead. Because there are two games that Bungie made that are two of my favorite games, and they are FPSs. And it is Halo 3 and it's Halo Reach. But if you're not providing that story and that understanding of how you do the mechanics, and you're just throwing something out there, I think that's the problem that people have. And I think they're not going to accept it, especially at a price point. They want it. If it was free to play, I think it has all the opportunity to be great. But as of now, I don't see any, and I follow people that are Call of Duty players, everything else. None of them are excited. If anything, it's, hey, it's Bungie. Hey, it's Bungie. And that's what it is. And I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. I feel like Bungie, you made a mistake. You went in bed with PlayStation. I'm sorry. They are not this type of game, if you were on Xbox's side, would be a hit, because they'd be like, no, that's not what we want to do. Or, you know what? Let's just release it free to play. Because at the end of the day, they're going to make money off the microtransactions, correct? 3 maps. That's what you said. I'm going to tell you right now. I had 3 maps in the Gears 3 beta. It was Thrashball, it was Trenches, and it was Checkout. Okay? In a beta. All right? We're in a different time space. Okay? You have free-to-play games that give you whatever you want. And if you want to pay for certain things, you pay for them. They are at the point they don't know what to do. And that's where I said, I corrected you on the Concord thing, but it's $40. Same price as Concord. I'll bet you that's the price. Because you know what? They have PlayStation, who is funding this, has no confidence in it. And the only thing that's going to carry it about is these multiplayer gamers, especially on Xbox. Sorry, people. We play multiplayer games, and we might make that happen. Look at Lawbreakers. Look at what Cliffy B did. He alienated us, and it failed. Think about it. That's all I really want to say.
No, it's a fair point. Again, this is going to be a game. Now, again, if this would have strictly launched on PlayStation, it would have been dead on arrival. The fact that it is releasing on multiple places at once is smart, right? The more people that can play it, the more population you're going to have playing the game. Infinite number, we've been talking in the DMs, and both Crispy and Jamie have a lot to say and a lot of fantastic points. Again, I want this to be clear. This isn't a pile on a rabbit situation. It's a conversation that a lot of people are having, and I'm very interested to get your thoughts and theories on what could potentially be, whether it's a fail to success if Bungie's even a studio, because they're putting all the eggs in the basket, because they're pretty much done with Destiny. At least that's what we think. And they're putting all their eggs here, and they want to win. And I never gonna, vote, to see anyone lose a job or see a studio close. I'm not in that camp, but they are definitely riding on a razor's edge on the success of this game. What are your thoughts on whether or not it will be successful, Umbra?
Well, there is a lot to unpack with this, right? And
but you know what? This is a conversational podcast. Take all the time you need, kind sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. I have some skepticism. Some skepticism myself, and I'm optimistic. I'm an optimistic kind of guy, but I can't help but feel there's missed opportunities here that Bungie could have done. And if I were Sony, I would probably push for that. I look at Marathon. It's a very storied IP for Bungie. Old school ties to, it's a first person shooter it was back in the day on the Mac and things like that. And I kind of think like, man, if ever there was a moment or a time or a game that could have been the next quote unquote Halo, Marathon could have probably been it. You know what I mean? Just based off the history of the IP, it has similar ties to Halo in that you would go and find these, servers and things like that to find information and from the lore, much like Halo did when we go to these terminals. Servers wasn't the right thing. Terminals is the right word. And you would find information of the lore around you, including yourself. And Halo had the same, if you all recall, with the Forerunners and things like that. So it has very much aligned things when it comes to that. And I feel like they they purposely abandoned the setting of what it was before and kind of moved to this more futuristic dystopian kind of setting on Tau Ceti 4. Now on the first one they were I think orbiting Tau Ceti 4. Now they're on the planet here. I've seen some things that seem like it could be promise, and then I've seen some things that I'm like, I don't know, right? It's a few things though that we have to go through. For one, if you all remember, I'm not sure if you all remember this, but for one, there's a lot of baggage with Bungie already because of past issues. Destiny 2, some things didn't excel or do well for them, some did, and now there's this whole, I guess, general thought that if this fails, they're going to get absorbed by Sony proper and then dismantled or whatever it may be, and sent team members sent here and there, and they're going to probably eliminate some, et cetera, the doom and gloom. But for this game here, way back, there were reports of lackluster internal gameplay sentiment from people who played the game. And there had been movements, like I said, in Bungie itself. We had Joe Ziegler who replaced Christopher Barrett, and of course we had failures from Sony with Concord, right? So now this is like, okay, well, this has to be it. And
this has to hit.
Yeah, it has to hit now, because you've already had a major failure that cost what we're hearing, at least upwards of 400 million or more, right? So now you can't have another failure of that magnitude or even close to it. My thing for me is this, and this is where I stand true in most games like this. I cannot get into a game that is purely online multiplayer shooter. I just can't do it personally. If I don't have anything that can tie me to a campaign first and then explore that, it just won't work for me. I can't speak for everyone. Just won't work for me. So games like Apex, games like Fortnite, games like, the Escape from Tarkov or whatever, or even though that's ridiculous to try to get into because you can't just get it on console, right? And it's on PC, you have to go to their site or whatever. It's not on Steam. They have like a $250 limited edition or whatever, like all these nonsensical ways to get into it. Things like that, I won't ever really buy into those. To this day, I've never played Fortnite because it's a pure online shooter, not my style. Before, by the way, I didn't like the whole aspect of chopping down trees and building houses to kill people. I thought that was really stupid. No disrespect to anybody else. I just like I'm not.
No, but it's a
It's a
thing
I'm not
of
Paul
gaming that you
Bunyan.
don't like. Yeah.
That's all. I'm not Paul Bunyan / Sniper June from Halo Reach. I just didn't feel like doing that. But I know if since have gone to modes beyond that. But my thing is those games don't appeal to me. This is no different from what I've seen in gameplay. I will say the gunplay looks solid. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's going to be. Bungie seems to get that nailed down from Destiny and whoever they had left of the team that went from, their work with Halo to over there with Destiny and things of that nature. The thing is that I cannot grant them the same legacy of the same Bungie team that actually worked on the past Halo games. This is not the same Bungie team. Many of them have left. You know what I mean? Many are still with Halo Studios now. Many are dispersed elsewhere. So this isn't even the Bungie we grew up playing right here. You know what I mean? So there is that too that I have to make sure to say. But yeah, I don't know, man. I look at this and it's purely PVE, pure PvP VE, and I don't know. It just does not appeal to me. I will say that. With the style they have of this, what is it? They call it the graphic realism.
Yeah.
That I do like the art and ways.
The artistic look of it is I'm not gonna. It has like a plastic shiny look to it.
It does, and it fits the description of what they're calling it, right? I think they call the shell you're in.
Yes.
What do they call it? What do they call it? I cannot remember. It does fit though. I cannot remember what they called it. I read it, and for whatever the reason, I cannot quite place.
It's probably because you're tired. We'll try and find it. We'll get to
realism.
Yes, it's definitely graphic realism. I just can't think of the name of the. What is that? Okay, anyway, whatever. So you're put into this shell of a body. It kind of reminds me like Ghost in the Shell or something. But so you're set on this dystopian setting, like I said, that's tied to the past games because Tau Ceti 4 is there. You're a cybernetic runner, as they call you. They got 4 different classes, I believe there is. The problem is you got 3 maps at launch. Now, this is another potential problem for them. We saw this happen with Halo, where the lack of content was devastating because Halo initially at giant launch was excellent. The fact of the matter of it was that it didn't have enough content. They can't have that happen here, especially with it just being an extraction shooter. I feel like they cannot have that happen. So you got like 3 maps, 4 different characters,
and 6 operators. I got that name you were looking for. This is the official statement on the art style from Bungie themselves, and it was a change from graphic realism to graphic simplified. Is what they're calling it.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah. Okay. That's interesting. My thing is they have it where you're going to be going around and you're still going to be finding terminals. So they do have lore bits that you're going to find. That's cool. I just feel like it would have been compounded more if you'd had a single player, a fully fleshed out single player with cutscene. Did you all see that like 8-minute plus short that they had someone do for them?
Yes.
For this game?
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, it looked really good. Like it could win awards.
I think it could. It was phenomenal. Now imagine having that level of whatever for cutscenes in this game to tell the story in a single player game. That put that together with an extraction multiplayer as to add on to that, and I think you got a winner, right? Especially if you're talking about charging a premium. So if they dare touch $60, this game is dead. If they touch 70, it's the same. Like, so 40 is even pushing it, right? It's really like, but they can maybe do that. I don't want to write it off. I think that our PlayStation brothers have been thirsty enough for something that they might be like, never again, like Concord. They might try to latch on and then jump on just to defend the game and not let it go to the way of the dodo. But we'll see. But I don't know.
This is
I don't want to speak
have
negative and real of it like that,
PC.
but I can't see a W for it just yet. I'll say that.
I agree. Look, I'll say this. PC is probably what's going to be supporting this, whether it fails or it doesn't, right? Console gamers will turn out. Chris, you had said earlier that you believe Xbox players who are used to multiplayer will, of course, support this potentially. I don't know how well it does on PlayStation because it is a extraction multiplayer shooter. Concord came in, and Concord wasn't good, folks. And no one is dancing on the grave of Concord. It came out. Wasn't a good game. The characters were very uninspiring in their design, and it just was not a good game. That's why it failed. Now, this is Bungie. Bungie has a history of making good games. Now, you can argue, and there's going to be people in the chat like, well, wait a second, Boom. Why are you defending the studio? All they made is Halo and Destiny. Well, I like those games. And I will be fair, I have not played Destiny in 5 years. When I did play Destiny and Destiny 2, I loved every second of it. It was amazing. Had a lot of fun with it. Liked a lot of the shooting. Some of the best shooting in gaming, at least in my opinion. Now, a couple of people in the chat dropped some super chats in here that I do want to get to because they do run parallel to what we're talking about. And Do UK Now, the Broke Boy Insider, dropped a very generous $2 super chat and says Marathon and Borderlands 4 release on the same day. And so did Swiss Dave. So Swiss Dave, thank you so much for joining us, brother, and thank you for the generosity. He says Marathon releasing on the same day as Borderlands 4 tells me Sony have little to no faith in the game, or they just don't care if it succeeds or fails. And you see, that's an additional context that I completely forgot all about, that this is going to be going up against Borderlands 4. Now, granted, Borderlands 4 is a multiplayer, single-player game where you're going to team up with your buddies and you're going to go, but it's
also
still Borderlands 4. Yeah,
it's also a looter shooter. It's a different, slightly different genre.
It's not one-to-one, but the question is, and I think it's being made very well in the chat here, is what are people going to play? Yep. Are people going to play Borderlands 4, which I think that they will? And are people going to play Marathon? I don't know. I will not be playing Marathon. And I'll put it to you this way. If it was a free-to-play game, which it should have come out as such, then maybe I give it a shot. If you think I'm giving Sony or Bungie my $40 for a game that I'm probably never going to play, then for me it's not gonna move the needle at all.
40 or more, because I'm still conflicted. You know, we're hearing 40, it could be 60.
We have heard numerous price points. I think and again, this is me just spitballing here, gentlemen. I don't know if this is true. I don't know if there's facts to this. Was the multiple price points put out there to get the test the waters or the temperature of the water with the community? Do people say 40 is okay? Do people say 60 is okay? 70 okay? I'm going to tell you this right now. An extraction shooter in its own nature is niche. It's a niche shooter. Okay? Not saying the game looks bad. In fact, I think the game looks very stylized. Some of the characters I don't care for. Some of the characters I thought looked absolutely dope. But the problem that Marathon has and will be going up directly against are all of the free-to-play games that have become all the rage. And again, the more that the earth continues to turn and every day we continue to move forward, there are more tariffs, there are more expenses, things are becoming more expensive. People do not have the spendable cash. So they go to these free-to-play games, especially the younger generation, and they buy a skin every now and again. But for the most part, these kids, and that's a big part of the gaming audience right now. I know us old dudes want to believe that it's us. It's not. It is the much younger generation. And that younger generation are playing Fortnite. They're playing Apex Legends. They're playing Minecraft. They're playing all of these games.
Marvel Rivals.
Marvel Rivals has exploded on the scene. And you know something? It seems like they're not taking the foot off the gas, because every time I see and I look, there's a new character. They're really honing in on the sex appeal on some of these characters.
I saw Emma Frost.
Emma Frost
I'm like, hey, now.
Yeah, I mean, and
Emma
there's
Frost had
multiple
some soul
versions of
food
her
in
and
her.
her and
Yeah, she had
of
some soul
course,
food in her diet.
there
I saw
you
those
go.
times.
I actually saw Emma Frost. This is the world we're living in, folks. I saw the other day that Emma Frost jiggles was trending.
Yeah, she had some cornbread.
I'm just saying, like, that was trending. So this is a thing. And I'm not, again, this is not a, dance on the grave of Bungie or Marathon. But if you guys, if we kind of want to just, take this to a pointed level of conversation, and I think we should, right? You have Concord that came out and potentially cost Sony $400 million over the course of 7 years, right? That is a stain for Sony they were never going to wash away, right? Fair Games, Jade Raymond's studio that was purchased by Sony for this game, has had a showing that was CG only, and it looked very samey. We have not heard anything about that game since. And since the showing of that game, how many studios and projects have they closed down? Quite a few. So, of course, we don't know what's going to happen with Fair Games. It could show again, and it could also be, delayed. It also could be canceled. Now you have Marathon, and again, this did not explode social media like Bungie and Sony were hoping. People were very lukewarm. People are still lukewarm. And you know what's interesting, gentlemen? And again, this is, jump in whenever you want to kind of drop your bars here, because this is just kind of like a bonus conversation. The problem with Marathon is everything at this point. It's an extraction shooter, which is niche. There's no definitive price. We keep hearing 40, but we've also, like Umbra said, heard 60 and 70, which is madness, right? We also have a stylized looking graphical game that's going to launch with one mode, 6 operators, and 3 maps. This is a potential recipe for disaster. Anybody want to jump in and drop your bars on what Sony has going up against that?
Boom.
Yeah.
You got you have other extraction shooters that are just way more popular. We have Apex. You have the pinnacle of them, which in my opinion is the Division. The Division, now there's no new Division to pull people away from, but there's plenty of people that still play Part 2. And again, you have a premium package with that. And this is why I say Ubisoft doesn't get enough love. Look how well done Division is. You have a full-fledged single-player game, as well as the component of the extraction shooter part in there, where you can go into the dark zone, et cetera, et cetera.
And the DLC is great too.
Absolutely. So you have all these different games, and even if it's not just extraction shooters, you have looter shooters. You have these you have the Fortnites, like you mentioned, Boom. You got the Minecraft. You have all these other free-to-play games that all of these people, typically younger people, who you need to grab into this type of black hole type of game. You got all of them spread across all these different things. How likely is it that something like this is going to shake the market enough to pull them away from that? It's just not going to happen, I don't think. And that's why I said I feel like they needed an extra hook to really grab people. And I think they've kind of abandoned that with the design they went here, because again, I've read sentiment from past fans of the series itself, where they feel like they kind of abandoned the previous, eerie psychological styling of the past game on the Mac, and they kind of went to this more futuristic, I guess futuristic dystopian situation. And so a lot of people are still like, huh? So they're supposedly they're embracing that, Bungie, and saying that's going to be explained through the terminals you find and things like that. So that's at least they're not blind to that. But I just don't think that's enough. And again, I think free to play would be the way to go. I think having it at 40, I don't know if that's going to do well for them or not. I mean, we never know. I just don't think it's going to do well.
Yeah, I mean, I think they are fighting against and they're behind the 8 ball on this. Not because the game isn't going to be good. I think again, it's a Bungie game. There are people I see in the chat, folks pushing back against me liking Bungie or giving them credit. They're a good studio, right? Yes, have they had some leadership issues? 100%. But I have spent hundreds and hundreds of hours playing Destiny. And of course, they were the OGs that made Halo. Without them, there is no Halo, there is no Master Chief. And again, I know it's like, what have you done for me lately? Well, this is what they've done. Before we get on, read the last 2 super chats in here. And of course, we're going to get everyone out of here in a second. Crispy Bomb, any additional thoughts to what we're talking about regarding what Marathon has going against it?
I mean, everything right now. Just the people that look at what Concord was and how quickly you canceled it. Not saying that it's a bad thing because it was Sony first party. And wait, this is Sony first party, but it's coming to Xbox too. So it's one of those things like, and I think Umbra highlighted it very well. A lot of change in leadership. A lot of things that, they had a lot of layoffs too. Everybody remember, just understand that Sony is very hurt right now and they don't know what to do. I think Concord and especially after all the studio closings and everything, right after that, they're kind of holding Bungie on a tent pole that when you're going to release 3 maps. And I mean, I guess their story like kind of feels like a Fallout 76 type thing, but we're talking about Fallout compared to Marathon, which I never played the original Marathon. I have no clue about it. How about some context? Maybe they're going to give that to you, but they didn't produce that or show that to us. I watched the whole reveal, and unfortunately, it's what I've talked about Xbox doing. Give me the game, show me what it's capable of. Quit talking so much. I want some context. I don't want a whole story about yourself. And that's what I saw the other day. So how is that contributing to the gamer who says, I don't know what Marathon's about, and it's basically full-on multiplayer, and you're going to have to find out. There's no lore involved. Sorry. There's none whatsoever. No fan service. What are we talking about here? Okay, like it's a new game in many people's eyes, including myself. Where are we going? And I don't think they can't justify charging people money for nothing, because you need to have some context in the situation at some point. And I don't think they see it, and I don't think they care. Honestly, I feel like they want Bungie to fail too. They just want to get rid of them. And that's sad. It really is sad. It sucks. I hate to see it because I've played great Bungie games. Like I've said before. Okay? Like, where are we at now as a gaming community? Like, you can hate on Game Pass, but they continue to bring you unique and intricate experiences that continue to be there regardless of the fails and their trials. Okay, and then if you've been an Xbox gamer as long as I've had, but also been a PlayStation gamer for just as long, yes, it's less now after all these years, but where is that love for gaming? And I feel like PlayStation has completely destroyed that within Bungie, and now they're just trying to release something. That's the way I feel.
Well, again, we're going to see what transpires for Bungie and how long they're going to be around if this game fails. I don't know what the world looks like if Marathon can't be a W for PlayStation. Jamie, before we get on out of here, we get to outros. Any last thoughts on what Marathon has up against it?
Yeah, I've got a lot to say. I'll try and
That's
keep
right.
it brief though.
That's all right.
So like extraction is a weird genre, right? You know what? If you go back to 2017 when battle royales really like hit the scene, you know there was like H1Z1 before PUBG, but PUBG is the one that made people pay a lot of attention to it to the point where you know. Epic Games, they changed their zombie survival game Fortnite into a battle royale, and it took over the industry. They made battle passes, which became an industry standard, which I absolutely hate. But because of that, like people became aware of what battle royale was, and that became kind of the meta for like 5 years to the point where like there's streamers that would only play battle royale games. They wouldn't even consider regular multiplayer as like something they should or could play. Extraction modes is it's something that I know a few publishers are looking at thinking this could be the next big thing. This could be the next big thing that it's like same with superhero movies, right? Superhero movies dominated cinema for over a decade, and now the well's kind of ran dry. And what are they looking at next? Video game licenses, right? Like hell, Minecraft's going to break $1 billion practically. But like when it comes to extraction, like nobody on console knows what the hell that is. Every time I see people talk about extraction, they describe battle royale games, and I think Bungie coming out there saying like, "Hey, it's a team-based only game," and extraction games typically don't launch with a lot of maps, so like I don't even think the map thing is a problem. They could add them over time. Extraction games tend to have lots of buildings you can enter with decent-sized zones, but the fact that people can't play solo, I should say, solo only mode. Like, if you
Right.
play solo in this game, you are screwed, right? You're going up against teams of 4, you are done, right? So you're not going to want to risk any of your materials or resources. And look at the style, right? I think the style's really cool, but the problem is that you're playing as heroes, right? You can't really customize your character. When it comes to Bungie and how they've done customization in the past, like Halo Reach, wouldn't this type of game make the most sense to have customization for your characters rather than play as preset heroes? Like they are fighting an uphill battle. Bungie is in the same situation where BioWare's at. If BioWare have one more bad game, they're done. Absolutely done. Right? And as a BioWare fan, someone that talks about Mass Effect obsessively, I know this, right? If that Mass Effect game comes out 2, 3, 4 years and it's a dud, they're done. They're done for good. And it's the same with Bungie. I hope them the best, but like having this really interesting sci-fi universe and not having an outlet for story, and like I do not consider reading terminals in a multiplayer mode.
No, that's not
like,
that's not how you tell a story.
Yeah, that's not a story.
You
Like
just don't.
Now, if we go back a few days before they actually showed it off, and this was it was going to be an extraction game. It had solo only mode, it had team based mode, had duos mode, but also had a story where you played extraction solo against like AI. I honestly think this would actually stand a huge chance of being successful, even at a decent price. But charging money for a team based, hero based extraction shooter, man, like I was going to say, how could they make it even more difficult for themselves? Oh, yeah, they're launching the same day as Borderlands 4 that has the marketing money of 2K behind them. And we've seen how Borderlands is marketed in the past. That thing is everywhere. So, like, they're going up against Borderlands 4 and themselves. So that day, September 23rd or whatever, people are going to decide that day, what should I spend my hard-earned money on? Borderlands 4, where I can play solo or with friends in this huge, massive like looter shooter, or I could play team-based extraction mode.
Yeah.
And people will say it. Like you always have people in chat that will, think that we just hate them because it's Sony. It's like, no, like I want this to be a bloody good game. I like the style. I'm craving. Literally, I spend active time looking online for sci-fi games and extraction games on console. And so far, I have zippity doodah, right? Nothing to play when it comes to sci-fi extraction games. So I'm looking at this thinking this could be the Tarkov experience I want, because Tarkov will never come to console. By the way, speaking of Tarkov, if you want to play Escape from Tarkov solo, you have to pay $250 for the special bundle, which is egregious.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. But yeah, like they fight an uphill battle and going up against Borderlands, like I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe someone at Sony believes that this is going to be the thing. They can charge whatever the hell they want for. They can go up against Borderlands 4. They have massive cojones that they don't care. Or they actually do not care about Bungie, and they think if this game fails, they can absorb Bungie's, best stuff into, Sony themselves. We just don't know. But look, I hope the game's successful, and you're obviously going to have people that are hating the game. You're going to have people that defend the game that don't even have any intention of playing an extraction online only game. But like, imagine if the shoe was on the other foot, right? Imagine if Sony was launching an online only game only on PlayStation. We all know it would be screwed out of the gate because they typically don't play multiplayer games, or at least the ones that are massively online about it. But I mean, look, maybe it'll come to Switch 2 at some point. We don't know. But they fight an uphill battle, and I can't see them doing too well unless it's $20 or, free to play.
Great point all around. We have Mac22 in the chat, says drops a very generous $2 super chat and says it needs to be free to play. Talking about Marathon, yeah, it absolutely does, but it's not going to be, and I think that's the problem. Starfield guy actually dropped the first super chat of the day. Sorry I missed this earlier, brother. He says I was gonna tell you about the time I took an arrow to the knee and then Oblivion Remake dropped by the 9. It looks good. That's a really good.
One of those other lines from the guards. You criminal scum.
You criminal scum when you come out of the jail. That's a really good one, and that's funny because I remember that. Yeah, I remember the time I took an arrow to the knee. That's good stuff. Starfield guy, thank you so much for the generosity, brother. That was a nice laugh. Look, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here today. Again, 2 topics. Apologies earlier for the jackhammering. I'm going to make these into smaller videos and try and edit the noise. I mean, I have noise cancellation, but that thing was like literally right outside the window. What a pain in the ass. But thank you so much for tuning in and checking out the show. We super appreciate it. Obviously, we're going to have shows tomorrow evening. We're going to be talking about at least one of the topics, what to expect at the now rumored Xbox event next week, which of course should have Oblivion dropping. If you were, again, I don't know anybody else that canceled their trip. I did. When Xbox announced that they weren't having an in-person event, which was kind of shitty, to be quite honest with you. I canceled my trip to LA because I'm not spending. It would have cost me a little over $2,000 between hotel and flights,
travel and such,
and just to go. I wasn't going to spend that money to go to Jeff's show. I'm sorry. And I got to pay to get into Jeff's show and potentially IGN Live. And now there's something that's floating around where they may actually have a watch party out in LA. I wish you would have told me that. I would have flown out for Xbox. I'm not flying out for Jeff Keighley. I'm just not doing that.
Completely understable. Yeah. I know a few other people who had to cancel, or one who could not.
It's $2,000. It's $2,000 in 2025. Yeah. Folks, when you're saving for your first home, $2,000 is a lot of money.
That's a lot, yeah.
And I would be willing to pay it, but to go to Xbox, not to go to Jeff's show or to go to IGN Live was fun last year. But it's not why I'm flying out to LA. Jeff's show was okay. Hargeet had gotten us great seats. We paid them, of course, but they were right like dead center. It was great to be in the audience, but I'm not flying out to LA. So anyone that's going to be out there, awesome. There is go to Ben Kenobi, he's the guy that creates the coins. He put out a post where it's going to be hosted, from what we understand, by Paris Lily, which of course I love to hang out with Paris. I got a chance to hang out with him and Danny and Rihanna last year at the Jeff show. It was a lot of fun.
Who, Rihanna?
Yes, not the singer, but
I
Danny's
was about to
wife.
say what?
I
was about to be jealous of you. I'm like, hold on now. You telling me she was singing Umbrella to you? Umbrella.
I doubt it. I doubt it truly. But listen,
is Paris going to be barbecuing? By the way, I hear him and Todd having a battle. I don't know if he can
Khalif
right.
Adams, if Khalif is going to be there, then maybe they'll have a barbecue off.
Yeah, they gotta have a barbecue
Khalif,
off.
he can get down. So they're always fighting with each other about who makes the better the BBQ, as it were. But listen, let's get everyone out of here. Start first with Crispy Bomb. Crispy, sell the brand, brother. Where can people follow you on social media to get hashtag the Crispy Truth? And more importantly, what else you got going on, brother?
At Chris Bomb on X, Chris Bomb 28 Xbox Live. You can find me wherever I show up on Boom's channel for the most part. Called it out many times. Hey, I'll join anybody else. Just hit me up. Give me some time. And I'm sorry, but I just had a Crimson Omen blood red robin just fly in front of my my house, and my God, like I wish I could have grabbed a picture because it was incredible. But you know, that's the thing. Like, dude, be a gamer. Don't take all the price hikes and all that. Like, at the end of the day, like, there's one gaming company doing something for you. Yes, you're gonna pay a sub. I mean, I pay a sub for Netflix, I pay a sub for Prime, I pay a sub for a lot of things, but it's what have you done for me lately? And Xbox, keep cooking. Don't hike the price now.
Yes. Please don't raise your prices now. Don't step on any rakes right now. I did a video yesterday that came up. I actually posted it this morning, but it was a conversation that we had with Fuzzy Belvedere, where thanks to PlayStation's price hikes and $80 and $90 gains from Nintendo Switch 2, Xbox looks like the good guy. Go check out that video. I posted it this morning. Elusive Gamer, brother, you got a show happening later today with Logan Meyer, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Let's get your thoughts on, of course, where people can subscribe to your YouTube channel, follow you on social media, watch the show live this evening, and more importantly, brother, subscribe to your YouTube channel.
Yeah, thanks, Boom. It's always a pleasure talking with you guys on here. So my YouTube channel is The Elusive Game. I exclusively cover Xbox, bunch of Mass Effect on in there as well. All Things Xbox podcast is on Tuesdays at 6 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be fun over there. We're going to break down all the details of the upcoming Oblivion remake. We're going to talk about the possible showcase which is happening next week, a bunch of Final Fantasy stuff, Splinter Cell, Ubisoft, the usual stuff I tend to rant about. It's going to be fun over there, and I'm probably going to pop off at some point about Deus Ex again, which should be fun. But yeah, always fun over there. No fanboys in chat, or at least it's rare these days. But yeah, hope people join. It's going to be good over there, and that's 6 p.m. Eastern. My Twitter is also Jamie Moran UK, where it's exclusively gaming and jokes.
Well, appreciate you being here, brother, and of course the work that you do for the Xbox community. Lastly, and no way least, Mr. Unreal Engine 5 himself, Infinite Umbra, one of the best singing voices in the business. You have a show with Daniel J. McGee Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where last week you had to take a bit of a break, but you're back this week, and obviously, well, there's a lot to get into. Sell the brand, brother. Where can people subscribe to your YouTube channel, but more importantly, follow you on social media?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, last week, man, it was an outage on Discord. It just left us messed up.
Kind of hanging. This is why I hate Discord. I hate Discord.
Yeah, it's got its pluses and its minuses. Reezy says that there was a special super chat that was meant for me that was missed. Boom. Did you see that?
Let me go into YouTube. I don't have it here with the software. Sometimes that happens. Let me go take a look. Hold on. Let me just continue your outro, and I'll pull up YouTube.
For you, did you say that you saw a crimson red cardinal that pulled up on a windowsill for you?
That was Crispy. Yeah.
Is that what it was, Crispy? A red cardinal? He must have stepped away. Okay. Well, never mind then. I was going to read him what the meaning of that might mean, but you know, because if it had been like I guess a what you call it, a crow. I'm like, well, brother, you might have some evil omen coming your way.
Don't you throw that evil on me.
Don't put that
Yeah, we
evil
have a
on me.
$2 super chat here from Day Reezy. He says, this is slander. Marathon is Umbra's game of the year. He has three copies pre-order. Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at you supporting the team.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What he meant is I'm going to marathon Oblivion when it comes out.
No,
Yeah.
you're not going to do that. You're lying. You're going to put 300, 500, 600 hours a day. You know you are.
You already know.
I already know how you play.
Yeah. Hell, I'm still on AC Shadows with 100+ hours, and I haven't even gotten
to get
through
back
half
to
the
that,
story
dude.
yet. So I already know Oblivion is about to get crazy amounts of hours for me.
Yeah.
As far as myself, of course, you guys can find me Infinite Umbra or Umbra Infinite on social media. You'll find me either way. Thursdays, the fix with myself and Danny at 8:00 Eastern. And we might have a guest this week. I might have to, I don't reach out enough to people like, hey, you want to jump in? I just don't do it now. But because I felt like we've been kind of having our own thing with our solo dolo thing, but I do want to have more people with guests, I guess, to come through. And Friday is the Infinite Podcast with myself, Risky for the Biscuit, that blue number, Spriggan, aka Dante Moody. And you guys come by and check us all out. And that's at 7:00 Eastern on Fridays. And I think it's 7:00. Yeah, 7:00 Eastern. So because time has moved forward, I have to make sure. But yeah, come by and check us out. You guys can find me, of course, here, the same name here on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, please do so. And come by and check us out. We're gonna have a good time this week. Also, next week we'll be discussing WrestleMania since it drops the 19th and the 20th this week. So hopefully it's a decent enough show. They'll be in Vegas. We'll see what's up.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's 2-day event, right? It's happening for 2 days.
Yeah, 19th and the 20th.
It should be interesting. Should definitely be interesting. But listen, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for us here. Hopefully you liked the conversation that we had. Enough to hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, we are 100 and something away from 16K. Hopefully we'll get there before June. I think we should be able to, with all the coverage we're going to have for all the June shows and all the June releases, we should be able to get it. But if you're not already subscribed, please consider subscribing. Hit the like button on your way out. And if you're feeling extra generous, you want to share this on the social media platform of your choice, drop it there. Let people know about Double Barrel Gaming. We do greatly appreciate it. And of course, a big thank you to all of the super chats and the channel member chats, as well as the gifted memberships, because we did have one here from our good friend Do You K Now, the Broke Boy Insider. Folks, he has gifted one Double Barrel Gaming membership. And if he did get it, please, before we get out of here, thank that man, because he did not have to obviously donate it, but we're very happy that he did. Thank you for the generosity, Will. We super appreciate it. And of course, I'm going to close out the show with something that's incredibly important to me, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught us when we were kids. And it would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And also, it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Factor Podcast.